And now for the short radio play, The Discovery of Penicillin. It was 1928. Alexander Fleming, a man of science and highly respected by his fellow scientists, came in the next morning and noticed how untidy his laboratory was. He had taken an extended holiday after working on samples of a bacterium called Staphylococcus aureus. Eventually he came to the petri dishes with Staphylococcus and noticed that there was a blue ring on one of them and that it was open. Och, this is most disgraceful. Such a mess. I shouldn't have taken such a long holiday. What's this? Contamination? This bluish green ring. Wait, it appears to be inhibiting bacterial growth and destroying the surrounding bacteria. It looks like the mold has released a substance that repressed the growth and caused lysing of the bacteria. There are many types of antibiotics, and they all have different methods of action, but they all follow the same rule, which is inhibiting one or more of a bacteria's processes. Penicillin kills bacteria by preventing it from fully forming a cell wall whilst dividing, and therefore allowing water to rush in as the water concentration is higher outside the cell. Alexander Fleming decided to study the mold. Now that I have a pure culture, it's evident that this is a Penicillium mold. I see a lot of possibilities for this. The results of these tests are quite intriguing, but I don't have enough time, and I've had quite a few setbacks. Maybe someone else can work on it. If only I discovered this 10 years previously. Many of the men I treated while in the Royal Army Medical Corps may not have been lost to infection. At least I know the name of this wonder. Penicillium notatum. Fleming experienced World War I firsthand and saw how many soldiers in the field lost limbs and lives to the infections that they contracted through wounds and bad conditions. Infection was one of the major causes of death at that time. A few years later at Oxford, Howard Florey and Ernst Chain were studying penicillin and determined that penicillin was able to go and cure bacterial infections in mice. It's really interesting actually, Chain. Penicillin does have an effect. Good work, Chain. Look at this mouse. This beautiful mouse. Ist gut, ja? It's right, Chain, but it's more than just a mouse. It's the future. Florey and Chain wanted to test penicillin on humans to see if it had an effect similar to that in the mice, but they also wanted to do this to go and get funding to go and produce more penicillin. Chain, we can produce a small quantity of penicillin, but we need far more. Well, sir, there is a patient who would be willing to take it, I think. Well, let's go then. Sir, please, sir, I want some more penicillin. It's working. I'm sorry, mate. You want more? What are you still? Sir, are you sure this is illegal? It would not be in Germany. It's alright, don't worry. I'm sure it's fine. They had tried to help a policeman named Albert Alexander who had become infected after being stung by a rosebush. The penicillin worked to treat him for a time, but ran out too soon, and therefore he died. This wasn't the only case where penicillin was used. It was used multiple times by Howard Florey and Ernst Chain on a number of patients, including burn victims. And there was a definite improvement in their health and a decrease in the infection. After developing a way of mass-producing penicillin, Howard Florey went to the US to go and get pharmaceutical companies to go and help him in carrying out this process, as it was expensive and it was difficult to produce enough of a quantity of the penicillin. Eventually they found that they could go and retrofit the process used for fermentation, i.e. for liquor and stuff like that, and determined that they could use it for penicillin. It was a success, and after improving the techniques used in the mass production of it, they determined that it could be used for civilians. There is an obvious ethical dilemma behind giving untested medication to people. Although it did have an effect, it's good that these days that kind of thing wouldn't happen. Thank you for listening. Good night.